I want to take you back to a specific feeling. Early morning, university lab, that distinct smell of industrial cleaner from the night before. Your college, your colleagues are filling in, half asleep, and you can just feel it. That quiet collective frustration. Nobody says it out loud, but the thought is right there in their faces. Why are we here? Why does this matter? Why is everything so theoretical? And honestly, I got it, because I sat in that exact same chair not long before, feeling the exact same thing. We had great teachers. We learned real things, but it was all guided. Every problem had a known answer. Every failure had a safety net. I remember my final year, the year I was supposed to make everything come together, and realizing we'd never actually been asked to use any of it. Not for real. We'd, we'd been given seats for years. Beautiful seats, but nobody ever asks us to plant one. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Chenos. I graduated last year, and I got the chance to come back and teach the same laboratory class. I took this opportunity not just for the experience, but also because I knew what I would have done to change the course, to make a more memorable experience or unique class. So, walking in day one, seeing them drag their feet at 8 a.m., I knew what they were thinking, but I also knew something they didn't. The gap between university and reality is massive. It's better to fill that gap in second year, where there's still fire in your eyes, than in the final stretch when you're already burnt out. So I decided to make this class a little bit different. Welcome to Seed to Store. This series documents a bit of an experiment. 5 groups of second year students, each building a real Android app using Android Studio, are trying to convert a blank whiteboard idea to the Play Store. No safety net, just an idea, a team, and 4 months. With, of course, the basics of the course. The name comes from a framework I created, and maybe it's already a thing. But yeah, the idea is that every great product starts as a seed, but getting it to the store takes more than just code. It takes judgment and it takes honesty. So before I introduce the groups, you need to hear the 3 questions I gave them. Without this, the pitches won't make much sense. So I ask each group to think of their product like a plant. 3 questions. What's your seed? Not your feature, your loop. The one thing a user does over and over. In Clash of Clans is collect, build, attack, repeat. Stick everything else away. That's the seed. So, what's yours? What's your soil? What makes that loop thrive? The design, the social hooks, the feel. It doesn't change the loop, but it makes the user care. And finally, what are your nutrients? How does it sustain itself? Is it a fruit tree, subscription, a flower, one-time purchase, or a vegetable, pure functional? The best products knows exactly what they are and how are they going to be monetized. So I gave them this as a nudge, not a rule, and what they came back with was actually better than I ever expected. So let me pitch them to you. Picture this. You're planning a trip with 5 friends. You have a WhatsApp group that started 6 weeks ago and now has 400 messages. 3 pin links nobody can find. 2 people who didn't see the question about the hotel. And 1 friend who keeps saying, just tell me when and where, and contributing nothing else. You have a shared Google Maps list a split wise that two people haven't opened, a notes document that someone started and then stopped updating, and every time someone asks, okay, but what are we actually doing on day 2? The group goes quiet. Team Mappit looked at that exact situation and asked a simple question. What if there was just one place for all of it? Their seat is the shared trip map. You create a trip, you invite your group with a code, and together you build a living map of your journey. You pin locations, you attach photos, you write notes, you track expenses, and you also store your tickets. The loop is plan together, experience together, and remember together. What makes it genuinely interesting, there's all, is what they call the pin system. Each location on the map isn't just a marker, it's a profile. Photos from that place, notes from the group, share memories. The app doesn't just help you organize a trip, it turns the trip into something you can revisit. A scrapbook with coordinates. And they're building this across 4 minimum viable products, which are kinda like small releases that people could already use your product. So they have personal planning tools first, then scheduling and offline maps, then group collaboration and expense tracking, and finally the full shared social experience. Ambitious? Genuinely, yes. Possibly too ambitious for 4 months, and even less? Also, yes. But the tension between vision and timeline is exactly where they are going to learn a lot. Here's a question. Do you actually know where your money went last month? Not roughly, specifically. Most people don't. Not because they're irresponsible, but because the tools that exist to help them are either too complex, too manual, or too cold. Someone tells you that to use a spreadsheet, and then you say, okay, then you open it, you stare at it, and you close it. Someone recommends you a budgeting app. It asks you 17 questions before you even seen anything useful, and you give up. Team Areté decided to solve that feeling properly. Their seat is automatic financial awareness, not you entering everything by hand. The app connects to your real bank account through an open banking API. Pulls your transactions automatically, categorizes them, and presents them in a way that actually makes sense. The loop is money moves, the app knows, and you understand. The soil, what makes it more than a tracker, is the social layer. You can create groups with friends or flatmates, split expenses across those groups, track who owes who, and resolve debts without a single awkward conversation. And I want to mention the name because it matters. Areté is a Greek concept pronounced areté. It means excellence, not in the competitive sense, but in the sense of being the fullest version of what you're capable of being. They're making a quiet argument that managing your money with clarity is a form of self-mastery. And well, that is a strong foundation for a product. Let me ask you something. Have you ever wanted to make a bet with your friends, not with money, but with effort? Like whoever goes to the gym the least this month has to cook dinner for everyone. Or whoever gets the worst grade this semester has to do a TikTok dance in front of everyone. The problem is those things live in WhatsApp messages. That gets buried in 2 days. There's no scoreboard, there's no history, and honestly, there's no real commitment. So it dies. Team Shark wants to fix that. Their seat is the Super League, a customizable competition engine for your group. You define the league, you define the actions, and the points. You invite your friends, and every time someone logs an action, went to the gym, got a good grade, won a game of cards. It scores points and moves the leaderboard. And here the loop is compete, score, rank, repeat. What makes it clever, the soil, is two things. First, the customization is complete. This isn't a fitness app or a study app. It's a competition app for literally anything you decide. Second, and this is the part I find most interesting, if someone logs a questionable action, the group votes on whether it counts. Fair play enforced democratically, which is kind of an elegant way to do that design. And they're building this again across 4 MVPs because this is a requirement. And they will start with a basic league creation and manual scoring, then fully custom leagues, then a global super league combining smaller leagues, and finally, a pretty interesting part, the skills. So if a winner of a round earns a special ability, they can use it strategically to basically annoy the other users. And that implies that they will also have some penalties. So, I think that this project is kind of interesting, it's fun, and I have some high expectations for it too. Let's go with the next one. There is this type of person, and I think most of us have been this person at some point, who is not bad with money, but is completely disorganized about it. They're not spending recklessly, but they just have no clear picture of what's happening. And every tool that exists to give them that picture either requires more effort than it's worth, or make them feel like they need a finance degree to use it. Team VisualCash is building specifically for that person. Their seed is visual financial clarity. You log your income and expenses, you assign them to categories, and the app turns all that into clean, simple graphics with short, plain language explanations. No jargon, no complexity. You open the app and you immediately understand your situation. The loop is log, see, understand, adjust. What makes it different, and this is generally clever, is the future simulation feature. Imagine you're thinking about buying a car for 20,000 euros. Before you commit to anything, you tell the app, it clones your financial data, runs the scenario, and shows you exactly how that one decision changed your monthly situation going forward. And then you can close it, and you reveal that is completely, of course, untouched. Nothing changed. You just saw the future and decided whether you want it. That is the kind of feature that makes someone pull out the phone and show a friend. And in terms of product thinking, this is exactly the kind of soil that makes a seed worth planting. And finally, the last one, but not the least. No, the last but not the least. Team Areté. So, here's the situation most people have been at least once. You decide to get serious about your health. You download a nutrition app, then a workout app, and finally a running app. 3 weeks later, you have 4 apps, and none of them talk to each other, and you've spent more time managing the tools than actually training. So Team Areté looked at that fragmentation and said, okay, what if one app just handle it all? Their seed is unified fitness progress. You log your workouts, track your nutrition, monitor your hydration, and watch your body change, all in one place. The loop is simple, but powerful. Train, track, see progress, and train harder. And what I find particularly smart about their thinking is how they define their users. They don't just say people who want to get fit. They identify 3 very specific people. The beginner, someone who just decided to start but feels intimidated and doesn't know where to begin. The athlete, someone with an established routine who wants to optimize and track personal records. And the person with a specific weight goal, someone who knows exactly where they want to go but needs the nutritional precision to get there. That level of user clarity at this stage of development is actually impressive and very important. That's why it's one of the requirements that has been asked for everyone. Because otherwise, if you build for everyone, you're building for no one. Um, yeah, and the soil in this project, what makes them more than a logger is the combination of full exercise catalog with historical records and a personal statistic dashboard. You don't see what you did today, you see how far you've come. And that comparison, past you versus present you, is one of the most powerful motivational tools or loops that exist in fitness. In this case, they're building again for MVPs, account setup and exercise catalog, then full workout login and real-time session tracking, statistic dashboards and progress graphs, and finally, hydration tracking and also achievement badge system. So, with this idea of keeping the users coming back. So, that was the end and the fast pitch that I kind of summarized based on the deliverables that they did, which actually are more extensive and we ask more specific stuff, but these are like the high level understanding of each of one. And again, so we have 5 groups, 5 problems they pull directly from their own lives, such as travel chaos, financial confusion, and the fear of not managing the money correctly, wanting to compete and having fun with friends, and also the frustration of fragmented fitness tool, right? As you can see, none of them are trying to disrupt an industry, and none of them are chasing a trend. They're just trying to fix something that genuinely bothers them as university students. And in my experience, I would say that is always the best starting point. And well, as some final messages, I will say that I find most exciting about where we are right now is that these students have access to tools that make the distance between idea and prototype shorter than it has ever been in history. The question is no longer, can I build this? The question is, do I have the clarity to know what to build, the judgment to prioritize it, and the resilience to keep going when the whiteboard plan meets reality and it's not as easy as it seems? This is what this series is really about. Not the technology, but the thinking behind it. Over the coming months, you'll see how each of these seeds will develop, the decisions they will make, the features they will cut, and how it's not that easy, but at the same time, how fast maybe they could grow. Till the point that it may surprise all of us, including me. So, this is Seed to Store, and I'll see you in the next video, which is probably going to be the first demo. And if you are a student watching this, maybe sitting in a lab classroom right now, wondering what any of this has to do with your career, I want to leave you with one thought, which is the seeds you never plant are the ones you'll always wonder about.